of the alcohol, la 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 la. Just line 'em up and we will drink them all, la 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 la. But my mother always said, if you want to drink all day, you best start in the morning, son, 'cause that's the Irish way. We don't get drunk, we get awesome, and every other mother will agree. We don't get drunk, we get awesome, so order up around for you and me. We don't get drunk, we get awesome, and every mother must agree. We don't get drunk, we get awesome, so order up around for you and me, and you and me, and you and me. Let there be whiskey.
And I'm Chris. Oh, I did this because I control it with this hand, and I did it with this hand. So if I had something in this hand, I forget about. Well, like be like, what is this in this hand? I don't even know. They say they can't hear you, Russ. Hold on. Yeah, desktop audio is on. Let's see. I can hear you. Say something now.
Something now.
Okay, looks like you're working now. Can you guys hear him now?
Mime it all, Russ. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Hey, CD, hey, Auntie. It looks
Funny.
like he's working now. Yep. Okay. Cool.
Okay.
All right.
Cool.
And
Thanks,
my mic
Dawn.
is still working. So, yeah, I didn't bother to check yours because I saw that that's always on. That automatically comes on. I didn't touch anything or change anything either. So that surprises me. Well, I guess it doesn't really surprise me. It's this program. Oop. There we go. Now people can see me. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. So how was your week?
It was typical,
Oh wait,
hot.
sorry. Hold on. Let's go back. Because they couldn't hear you. So hey.
Hey everybody, welcome once again to Nerds with Alcohol. I'm Russ.
And I'm Chris.
And this is episode 375. 375. That's a mark. That's a mark stone. It's on that quarter.
Yep.
It is good to be back. It's a lovely, it's a warm and not super crazy hot, but a muggy day here in the Detroit area. A little bit of rain here and there, and spotty rain in Detroit. But and like I said, just muggy as fuck. It got really muggy at the break today. So, it is happy post Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah.
Weekend. It's like what a great. My week was fucking great.
Yeah, CD, you didn't get blocked for the little cock comment, but you did get blocked for pervs.
What? I finally got a little cock. The peacock, you pervs. The peacock for the Olympics. Oh, damn it. Well, that's cool. Speaking of the Olympics, I did not see the opening ceremonies. I saw parts of it actually. And then I heard about like the big to do with the drag queens and about how the Christians are losing their fucking minds.
Yeah. Saying that they were making fun of the Last Supper and their religion and all this, and that's not what it was. It was the Feast of Dionysus.
Right. It was a bacchanal. It was depicting it's a painting that hangs in the Louvre.
Yeah.
That depicts the bacchanal, and it's just like, dude, that it doesn't have anything to do with the Last Supper. It has a lot more figures in it than 13, because I actually believe the Last Supper has 14 figures in it. It's got Jesus, the apostles, and I think like an extra figure, like a waiter or something. I don't know. Somebody told me there's 14 in it, and I'm like, but there's definitely more figures in it than are in the painting of the Last Supper. So it's like, learn, Catholics, Christians, maybe learn about some other cultures, maybe learn about some other religions.
That's
freak out.
It's funny. I saw a thing that said basically the people who are the most upset about this are the same ones that want to dismantle the Department of Education.
Right. They're the same people, and we'll get to this. They're the same people that are also pissed off about Deadpool calling himself Marvel Jesus.
Yeah.
And which was in the trailers. It was in the fucking trailers.
Yeah.
That he referred to himself as Marvel Jesus. He says it in the trailers. This is not a spoiler. And yet there are Christians that are posting like videos and posting things on TikTok. I've seen at least 3 different videos saying, I left a half an hour in because he referred to himself as Marvel Jesus, and this is awful, blah, 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 blah. Oh my God.
Well, a bunch of people also thought that the figure on a white horse was depicting death.
It's not.
And it's Sequana. She's the goddess of the scene.
Of the river, yeah.
The river scene. And I guess also a daughter of Dionysus.
Dionysus, yeah. It's ridiculous because, Americans are so American-centric that they can't possibly think about the fact that the opening ceremonies in Paris, France may reflect Parisian culture.
Yeah.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yep. But anyway, so how was your week?
Like I said, not bad. We just kind of a typical week, or we're getting into production at work. We're finally getting into the new floats. We have the art for at least two of the new floats, Central Michigan University and Blue Cross Blue Shield. So we're getting into those. We've got some of the artists, both new and old, are coming back. So kind of typical. You and I went and saw Deadpool Wolverine. Like you said, we're going to do a little non-spoilery review on Thursday night.
We did a kind of a quick non-spoilery initial reaction review as we walked out of the theater.
Exactly.
And Wolf Pool. That's up on YouTube on our YouTube channel if you want to see that.
Yeah, it was just us standing outside of the theater. It was pretty funny though too, because we're doing a quick review, and then some guy who had just come out of the theater with us, I think, and he was like,
he was heading back in for something
movie, you know, and whatever. He might have been going to see it again. I don't know.
No, because he was in the car across from us that stopped and was asking us what we thought.
Oh yeah, okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was. You're right. He was, because you were joking a little bit about it. But it was a really, it was a great time. How was your week?
It was good. That was good. I went and saw that movie again on Sunday with Renee, which she loved it. It was just as spectacular the second time. Caught a couple more little things in it, but yeah, other than that, it was kind of a quieter weekend. Busy as hell at work right now, trying to figure out how I'm going to get everything done I need to get done by the end of the year. Mm-hmm. So not wanting to take a lot of trying to schedule my trips around things so that I don't have to worry about missing podcasts or things like that. And it's really tough to do that and still get everything scheduled.
Yeah, remember too, if you gotta miss a day, you gotta miss a day. I mean, we get it, our audience gets it. We're all, we all have lives. CD, I didn't have a beer,
and neither did I
at the movie. We could have. I mean, there is a bar there.
Yeah, MacGuffins.
Yeah, MacGuffins. It's called The Culture War on Nothing. Yeah. Wolf Pool. I like that. That's good. Wolf Pool. We did, I think I didn't want to drink, mainly just, I was like, I don't normally get a drink at the movie.
I don't either. It's too expensive. And while it's cool to have one, their beer selection is kind of meh. And
right.
And
I'm
for
like, me, I guess just for tradition's sake, I get a pop. I get a soda pop. I mean, it's bad. And when I start drinking, I gotta pee. I'm not one of those iron bladder guys. Like when I start drinking, I gotta pee. I'm one of those guys. I'm one of those, you only rent it kind of guys.
Now, I did not get the Deadpool popcorn bucket or the Wolverine the pop cup.
Some of those were just obnoxious, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it says on the back of the Wolverine one because it's basically just his mouth wide open, kind of like
on the popcorn one, yeah.
On the popcorn one, and it says designed by Deadpool on the back.
No, CD. I don't normally. I do sometimes mix sodas, but only like regular Diet Coke with like one of the flavored Diet Cokes because the flavor ones are a little too sweet for me. So I like if I want a little flavor, like I'll add a little bit of vanilla in there or a little bit of cherry or even cherry vanilla. Yeah, there's so many dirty things to say about that bucket.
For real.
And that's I think that's the point.
Yeah. I it's funny. You mentioned that, CD. We were talking about that. About how we get these Coke machines where you can just, create a Frankenstein monster of deliciousness. And I just usually get Coke. Like I don't do like the weird flavors and stuff. I just kind of like Coke. And but there's such a wide variety of stuff that you can get on those machines. And I still just generally go. I generally stick to the default. That's what it was called on The Simpsons. What a Frankenstein, the Frankenstein of deliciousness. So yeah,
mix all sodas.
Yeah, it's like a gorilla sweat of soda pop.
We used to call it a suicide.
Suicide. Yeah, suicide. I remember that. I remember calling them those. What was it? I did unfortunately have a recent passing. My friend Suzanne Shaney passed away. She was the lady mayor at the Renaissance Festival for a number of years. She passed away on Sunday. I'm actually taking the day off of work to go to her viewing tomorrow. Actually, Ross is going. The two of us are going to go. And unfortunately, it's all the way out past Ann Arbor. So it's about an hour, probably about an hour and 15-minute drive. So we're going to just I'm going to pick him up and we're going to go. And it's kind of a drag. But she had gone into hospice care last week and passed away on Sunday. So, little drink to Suzanne. She actually was a very good friend of Michael Wiggins too.
Oh, well, that doesn't surprise me. Who wasn't?
When he passed unexpectedly, I remember talking to her at the festival about being very upset about it, and she was crying one day, and I saw her, and I'm like, "Are you okay?" And she said, "Oh, I just really miss Michael," and because it was during because Michael was the dance master at Fair, and he during the feast would often have a little dance class, a little dance performance, and teach people a couple dance moves, and it was it was something that and Suzanne was often at feast and really liked that. So, yeah. So unfortunately,
yep.
Oh, there you go. We got Jeepos in the house too. Hey, buddy.
Yep. Hey, Jeepo.
So yeah, festival is actually right around the corner. We are coming up on 2 weeks away, really, from opening weekend. This weekend, actually, at Eastern Market is the kickoff event. I might swing down there on Saturday. I don't know. We'll see.
We got gaming on Friday too.
And we have gaming Friday. Yes, I am looking forward to that. We've talked about. You had talked about possibly when the new rules kick on in September, when we get the new books, that possibly integrating some of the new rules. Because you originally said we'd stick to the old rules for the rest of this campaign, but now you're changing your mind a little bit on that, huh?
There's some things I like in the new rules that I don't have a problem kind of implementing. So yeah, possibly. And I had something else I was going to say, and I totally lost it. Totally.
What happens when we get old, brother?
Yeah.
What are you drinking?
Before we get into that, I just want to make one announcement because we'll do it now and maybe even later on. Twitch is actually running a special right now. If you subscribe, one Twitch subscription will get you 3 months of Apple Plus TV or Apple TV Plus.
That's pretty cool.
if you do one subscription, it's up from today until noon Pacific time, so 3 Eastern. on August 19th. If you any new recurring or gift sub will get you 3 free months of Apple TV Plus.
Well, that's cool. I did not know that.
Yep. So
I use my subs for this. I subscribe to our show, and then I use my Prime sub for Critical Role.
Right. So I think it's just a Twitch sub. So I don't know if the Prime sub counts, but actually the Twitch sub does. But yes, Time Bandits did just release on Apple TV Plus.
God.
I just put the movie
Classic.
on my HBO list so that Renee can watch it before we start watching the show.
I actually just bought it. Stella, the Criterion collection was all on DVD and Blu-ray. Were all on sale at Barnes and Noble. And Stella was like, "Oh, it's in the Criterion collection." I go, "No kidding." I had no idea that Time Bandits was part of the Criterion collection.
I didn't either.
So she picked it up for me, grabbed it for me.
Because
I've always wanted to add that one. Hey, there she is. I've always wanted to add that one in to my collection because I have really vivid memories of seeing that at the theater with some friends. And it came out like 81, so I was a real little kid. But the interesting thing is there is an ogre, and I think I might have mentioned this. There's an ogre in that movie. If you remember when the Time Bandits fall, they land on his ship, and Catherine Hellman plays his wife. She's human.
Dude, I don't think I've seen that movie in 35 years.
Okay. Well, anyway, there is an ogre. There is an ogre. He's a British actor. He's an ogre. And I can't remember what his name is right now, but he's in the movie, and he's got, big mane of hair, and he's got curly horns, and he's got the big, tusks of teeth. And I realized I kind of must have subconsciously integrated a lot of that design into my Oliver Ogre design. And I was just like, holy shit, I saw that a while ago. The interesting thing is the actor that played that ogre was on Game of Thrones. He was an old man, and he's since passed. He was the ancient maester that worked with the Night's Watch. He's the very old man. He was the blind maester.
Yeah, I'll say the blind guy, the one that used to be king.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, no, he wasn't a king.
Well, he could have been king.
Yeah, he was a Targaryen, and he chose to go to the dark, go to the Night's Watch.
The Night's Watch, yeah. He could have been king.
Could have been king. He had a claim to the throne. So, but he chose he didn't want it. Anyway.
Yeah, so Sweetums, CD. That's the Muppets character is Sweetums. That's kind of who Oliver reminds me of sometimes.
Oh yeah, that's right. Sweetums doesn't have a British accent though.
No.
So, what is it? So anyway, what are you drinking?
I'm not feeling great tonight, so I just poured myself a little bit of bourbon, in a beautiful Nerd's glass. And this is something I believe I've had on the show before. It is the Bullet Bourbon, aged 10 years, from Bullet, which is a Diageo company, which they're owned by their Diageo is the parent company of Guinness as well.
Which one is that again?
It's the 10-year
Bullet. I've had that.
Yeah,
good.
It's next to them. It's really hard to find here, although I did find it recently at Total Wine. It's not overly expensive. It's only like $40, and it's really good. I like it a lot. It's actually one of the bourbons I like the most. I won't say it's one of my favorites necessarily, but it's well, I guess it is. It's one of my favorite bourbons right now. It's one I really like. So, but yeah, 2 thumbs up. I don't really talk about their flavors and all that. I like, it's a sweeter bourbon because it's a bourbon. It's sweet. All that corn. But yeah, I like it. So, what about you?
Well, speaking of sweet, I'm trying one of the Hard Mountain Dews tonight. This is my second of the mango, or excuse me, of the Baja Blast ones, because you luckily got the one it had Baja Blast in, but it's also had live wire and the normal, whatever. I got just wasn't paying attention and got all they're all Baja Blast variations. This one's hard mango. Or this or the
mango.
Mango.
So it's got a little mango
juice.
juice in it.
Mango juice.
Comes out of a funny spigot in the wall.
Right. Oh, mother of God. What is the matter with you? Anyway, this is actually quite good.
Candy grab for mango.
It's very sweet. Like mango, not to do. It's very sweet, and because it's the zero sugar, it's still got that like aftertaste that we've talked about. And I don't really like that artificial sweetener taste.
Yeah.
But that aside, the initial flavor is pretty good actually.
Yeah, that's the only thing I don't like about those is that
Jeepo,
aftertaste.
They're definitely, you can find them. I got this one I got mine at 9 in Hilton, the 9 in Hilton liquor store.
And I saw both types at Total Wine on Shaner.
So they are available. I think honestly, they're doing pretty well. So they're probably like kind of disappearing, you know. So
people here have been waiting for them.
Yeah, I mean, there are people that have been waiting for these things. I wish they weren't sugar free.
I'm kind of glad they are.
Well,
but I mean, I wish they didn't have that aftertaste. But I'm kind of glad they are sugar free because
what you deal with when you have a sweetener of this nature.
Yeah, a diet pop.
Yeah, I can't. It's kind of hard to see. I can't really make out it doesn't say on the can what it does say artificial sweeteners, which, you know, of course. I can't make out which one it is. So again, I like it. It's a bright orange color. It's almost like Kool-Aid orange. It's tasty. I think I like this one better than the regular Baja Blast. Okay, you know, I'm looking forward to trying the other ones. I mean, this one is didn't you try the watermelon?
Yeah, I tried the watermelon, I think, last week.
This one is, like I said, not bad at all.
It's Ace K and sucralose.
Oh, you looked it up.
Yep.
Sucralose.
Yeah, sucralose, and it says Ace K in parentheses because it's sulfame potassium.
Very well.
Some say that the artificial sweetener taste is noticeable in all flavors, including original, livewire, watermelon, and black cherry and Baja Blast. I agree. I think it is. I've had all of them, and every one of them has that flavor, that sweetener taste is noticeable.
It's very noticeable. That is the unfortunate part, is that sweetener taste. So yeah. So for me, hard Mountain Dew, Baja Blast Mango, and you are doing a bourbon.
Yep, Bullet 10-year.
Yeah. So check those out.
All right, guys. CD's got Brewer's Reserve Vanilla Bean Stout from Central Waters, 4 out of 5, Imperial 11.8%. Needs more vanilla, nothing special. Okay, yeah, that's one of the problems I have with a lot of the vanilla stouts is that they don't have enough vanilla for me. They have just that hint of vanilla. I need more. I want more vanilla. I'm a big vanilla fan. So, all right. So, what do we want to talk about first?
Well, we might as well kick off with the thing that we really can't talk a lot about, which is Deadpool Wolverine. We went and saw it, like we said, on Thursday.
Holy shit.
Well, I mean, holy shit. It was so fucking good. There was cameos galore. There were characters that we did not expect. There was characters
there were surprises. There were...
Right. Well, there were characters we had heard about, like it had been leaked that
I don't care what the leak is, no spoilers.
Well, it's not a spoiler. I mean,
not if people haven't seen the leaks.
These are in the trailer. I mean, it was in the trailer. That X-23 was in it. There's okay. Well, I won't mention the leaks, but I mean the X-23 is in the trailer. There's a lot of there were a lot of characters.
Keith's popping up all over the place now too.
Yeah,
she's a very talented young actress.
Young actress, and she was great in this too because she's quite a bit older than when she showed up in Logan. and she was like 12 or 13 in that movie, and now she's like in her early 20s.
She was in His Dark Materials. She's in The Acolyte.
Right. Yeah.
She's not great in The Acolyte, but I think that's just the writing.
Really good. Spoil away. I'm still gonna go and see it. There, like I said, there were a lot of characters that showed up from previous Marvel movies. Surprisingly, there were some really great things, some really great callbacks to the comic books that were really great too. That I have never actually seen before in a Marvel movie. Direct callbacks to certain things in the comics. That was just like
comics and the cartoon. Actually,
yeah, the cartoon.
It's a love letter to fans is really what it is. It's
like I saw this one clip earlier.
It's all fan service and
totally
90% fourth wall breaks.
Yeah. The proposal. There was just some really, really great stuff that like there were jokes that they had to have thrown in at the last minute. Things like that were just like, oh, this is really funny. We're gonna throw this in as a little improv or whatever, because that's Ryan Reynolds for you.
And I mean, I've been going through, so since I've seen it, and this is one of the reasons why I wanted to see it opening night, was so I didn't have to wind up worrying about spoilers. Is I've been seeing a bunch of stuff coming up and looking at articles and finding out about who certain people who is actually in the movie in certain roles too.
Right, yeah.
Like people you don't necessarily know are there, but they're who they are. So
or it's just their voice or whatever.
And I'm like, that's really cool, because a lot of it's really kind of cool. So
exactly. So again, it's funny, out of all of the movies that we have seen and tried to do like kind of a spoilery free review, this is one of the worst ones, because you really can't talk about it without spoiling it, without spoiling some kind of surprise.
And that's kind of what I was talking about with somebody at work today, which was basically just, they're like, hey, what'd you think of the movie? Did you like it? And I'm like, yeah, I thought it was fantastic. It's probably the best Marvel movie I've seen in a long time. And that's about all I can tell you without spoiling something, because the entire movie, to talk about anything in that movie would be, it's a spoiler.
Right. That's totally.
There's Easter eggs everywhere too.
Easter eggs everywhere. Absolutely. Do not sleep on those, man. Every scene, just about every scene, you're gonna see stuff that is just like, oh my God, there's that. There's this over here, and there's like, oh my God, look in the background over there. Bunch of stuff. So,
it raises questions too.
It does. It raises questions. Once again, we'll do a full review in like 2 weeks when more people have seen it, and the kind of the ban on spoilers has been lifted. That's usually what we do. We usually do a 2 week. In the past, we've done 2 week kind of.
Yeah, Ojipo, that I haven't watched it yet. Renee watched it and posted it in the nerd.
Oh my God! Yeah, I watched it. She posted it. And
I haven't watched it yet, but I've heard.
Actually, I didn't watch. I listened to it while I was at work, and it is fucking hilarious. Hot Ones is so fucking funny.
I saw Jennifer Lawrence on there when she did it.
Oh yeah, she's great. And then like Maya Rudolph, oh my God, and she gets to a point where she just starts swearing at him, just calling him all kinds of names and stuff. And it is really funny, because I mean, the thing is the guy asks good questions. Like the interviewer.
That's what Renee was saying too. She's like, he's a really good interviewer. He's asking really good questions.
Oh yeah, I mean, I actually my friend at work was saying, you got to watch it, like, because I was listening to it. He goes, got to watch it again, and like watch it though, because their facial expressions. And at one point, Ryan Reynolds just looks at it, and he's just like, oh my God, and they're like, he goes, I cheat at Wordle. I don't know why I just said that, and just like,
yeah. Renee said you actually see like the Ryan Reynolds mask kind of drop in it too, and you actually see like the real Ryan.
Oh, for sure, and yeah, you definitely do. There's just some really
2.6 million Scoville, the last one.
Oh yeah, those last ones. I mean, at one point, I think it was around 8. Hugh Jackman was like, "I think I'm done. I think I might have to tap out." He's like, "I don't know if I can handle it anymore." and they're like, Rudd said, get ready for 5. 5 is when it happens, and it was true. Right around when they were 5, 6 was when they were really starting to sweat, really starting to have the problems. Because the first time, I can't remember who it was. They were talking about somebody. I need to go back and watch some of the other ones because they were talking about somebody who was like, pretty much throughout the whole time was like, oh, it was Pedro Pascal. Pretty much throughout the whole time, he was like, all right, that's fine, good. It was like, it wasn't until like the dead last one where he was like starting to like really feel it.
Well, one, his heritage has probably prepped him for that.
Oh, for sure.
Helped. And 2, he was probably stoned out of his fucking mind.
Pedro Pascal?
Yeah, that dude's always stoned.
Is he really?
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, it was, I highly recommend. Watch the Hot Ones. They've been, Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, their press junket for this has been just absolutely fantastic. They've gone on all kinds of shows together. They did all kinds of really great stuff.
And they've done
everything is hilarious.
Bunch of commercials.
Right. You can really tell that the two of them are just really, really great friends.
So one of the other things we can talk about real quick with the movie was the box office.
Oh my God. Record breaking.
211.4 million domestically.
Right.
438.3 million worldwide.
The highest opening weekend for an R-rated film.
If you add in what they said today's numbers are, it's 496.3 million worldwide.
Almost $500 million in
4 days.
5 days, 4 days. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
Well, it's counting Monday. Yeah, yes. So Tuesday it'll probably go over. So yes, it'll be 6 days.
6 days. So, fuck, man, that's incredible. That's incredible. Marvel's got to be losing their fucking shit right now because that movie wasn't one of their most expensive either. It wasn't like, I mean, there's definitely,
it couldn't have been cheap. There's a lot of special effects.
Cheap, but it wasn't like, it probably, if they spent 200 mil on it, I'd be shocked. I'd be surprised. I mean, well, like we can look at the budget, honestly. Look up, budget for Deadpool and Wolverine. The initial budget was 200 million. Cost estimated 200 million to produce. So, I mean, some of these other ones have been substantial.
So they've already made their money back.
Oh yeah,
including the promotional stuff.
Well, a movie has to break even, has to make double its production because they usually spend close to the amount of the production on the promotion.
Yeah, this actually says 200 million before prints and advertising.
Right. So that's just the actual production of the film. And then print and advertising is usually right around the same. So yeah, so they've broken even plus, and they're actually 100 million in the black now.
Yep.
Roughly almost 100 million.
Still, it's still not a success yet.
And it still has, and it's still, I mean, it hasn't had a second weekend yet. I mean, there are a lot of people that wait for the second weekend before they go and see it. So, this is going to be amazeballs, and it makes R-rated history, highest opening weekend for an R-rated film of all time. Broke its previous, and I believe, if I remember correctly, Deadpool 1 was the one that set the record initially.
I think so. Yeah.
So,
all right. One of the things I wanted to talk about is something that we didn't get to talk about last week.
Moving along.
Yes, moving on.
We do have a lot of news to get to from San Diego Comic-Con. So
yeah,
we're gonna. You had a thing.
Yeah, Fallout Season 2 news.
Yes.
They don't have any dates or anything like that. They're still actually I guess they have scripts in hand though.
Yeah, I have heard that.
And that they will be continuing the stories with the same characters. Unlike what they did in the games where they changed characters every game.
Right, yeah.
They said they will be continuing the stories with the same characters. So that's really all it was. It was just a little bit of news basically saying, yeah, we're going to have the same characters for the next season.
That's great. I'm excited. I mean, that's such a great, it's such a great series so far, and they really need to continue on with, I mean, I think we're still in the same game. It's not like they've finished. It's not like we've finished the game. If Fallout was the game, we haven't finished the game.
Yeah.
we have finished like some big missions, but there's more missions to do.
And speaking of Prime shows, I finished The Boys season 3.
So let's get into that. What did you think overall? Because actually interesting, because I got a funny story about this. So go ahead.
Overall, I thought it was all right. Probably not their best season. They kind of went over the top gratuitous with the gore, and some of the silliness.
There was definitely a lot.
The flying sheep was just kind of silly. And the flying killer sheep.
And the bull.
And just the farm animals type of thing. Just I thought that was a little silly. But yeah, overall, I mean, some of the story was good. The stuff with A-Train was kind of cool.
Yeah, now that he's left the show too, because he's done.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, A-Train. Yeah, he kind of betrayed the Seven, and then.
Well, right, I knew that, but I didn't know he was actually off the show.
He's done. I don't know why, but why leave a successful show and not come back
when there's one season left.
Last season, right? But there were some news dropped over the weekend about the show. There is now going to be a spinoff,
a prequel, right?
A prequel, yeah. It's going to feature pretty much the origins of Soldier Boy and the origins of Stormfront, and they are bringing back those actors to reprise their roles because they are, immortal.
Well, we saw Soldier Boy at the end of season 3. So.
Right. It has also been revealed that he will be coming back for the final season, and it will be his. He will be a series regular in the final season. So, which okay, cool. I mean, he was a screaming asshole. The character's a screaming asshole, but he was a very entertaining character. So, and it should be interesting to see. It was revealed that in the previous season that he was Homelander's father, or at least his genetic material was used to make Homelander. So, so that was a kind of a big reveal, and to see him continue on in that's going to be really cool. I had heard somebody tried to tell me that Billy Butcher was not going to be in the final season as well, which I find that to be highly unlikely.
Yeah.
I think that person was misinformed. So,
I don't know how you can have the boys without Butcher.
He is the guy in the comics specifically. He is the guy. I had this funny story, and I told you called you like the next day and ranted to you about it, and Chris helped me through some trauma. So Friday was my father's birthday. I forgot to mention this. Friday was my father's birthday, and we were over at my parents' house, and we were chatting, and it was nice. We were having a fairly decent evening. Now my sisters were there, Tiffany and Megan. Tiffany is a year and a half younger than me, and Megan is 7 years younger than me. I am the oldest, and Tiffany and I have never gotten along. We do not like each other. I love my sister. I do not like her very much, and she doesn't like me. It's just a thing. We are complete opposites. We've never gotten along our entire lives. Upwards of 7. Once we turned like 6 or 7, I was like, just been at loggerheads our entire lives. She was the pretty popular blonde girl in school. I was the skinny nerd. Complete opposites, right? Anyway, just to give you that breakdown, I don't want to take up too much time with this, but it did have to do with the boys. My parents got a new TV because their TV crapped out, and they got a new TV, and we're talking about shows, and I was like, have you guys caught The Boys? And I was meant to kind of like, it's kind of silly, and yeah, Mom, you wouldn't really want to like it, but I like it. It's a good show. My brother-in-law, my sister Tiffany's brother, was like, oh man, I love that show. It's great. It's a great show. And I'm like, yeah, it's really great. My mom was like, well, what is it? And I'm ready to say, well, it's a show based on a comic book, and it's a satire of American culture, and it's a satire and a metaphor for American culture. But I didn't get a chance to do that because my sister chimed in with, Mom, you'd hate it. Don't watch it. It's stupid. I'm like, it's stupid. Oh, she said that right after her husband and me had both said that we liked it, but it's stupid. Now, we proceeded to get into an argument. And I was of the opinion, and I'm like, and it's true, everybody is welcome to their opinion. But sometimes opinions are wrong.
Well, and opinions are like assholes.
Right. Everybody's got them.
Everybody's got them and they all stink.
Opinions can be quantifiably wrong. If you, now, if she had said, I don't like it, I don't think it's very good. Now, that's an arguable kind of thing. You can argue whether something's good or bad. Okay. There's different things like that. But calling it stupid, I would say that is not accurate. The show is very smart. It's well written. It's complicated. There's a lot of pathos. There's a lot of really cool character development. It's about pain. Ultimately, this show, hi Dresden. Ultimately, this show is about several people trying to get over trauma and pain. It's about Billy getting over the pain, the loss of his wife. It's about Huey trying to get over the loss of his girlfriend, who was murdered spectacularly in the first episode. It's about Frenchie trying to get over his pain. It's about Kimiko getting over hers. I mean, Starlight dealing with her trauma and pain. Even I keep calling him Highlander. Even Homelander trying to get over the trauma and pain and whatnot of his upbringing. Because although he's a fucking monster, they did very much this season try and establish and show where that sociopathy comes from, And so I would argue, and that's what I was trying to get across to Tiffany, was that the show, even whether she likes it or not, it's not stupid. That's a bad descriptor for the show. It's not a stupid show. It's irreverent and filthy and violent as all get out and gory, but it's not stupid. And we got into a screaming. I said to her, I go, by you making that kind of blanket statement, and I would also say, wager that she probably hasn't watched more than an episode or two, because if it has superheroes in it, she's less likely to see it. I would wager that the only reason she's seen any of the Marvel movies is because, one, RDJ was in a lot of them, and she's always been a fan of his, and that they became popular, that they were successful. That if you didn't see the Marvel movies, you're weird, right? And that's when Tiffany, God forbid, she was weird. So anyway, I figured also too, later on when I was analyzing how the argument happened, that all my life, the things that I've loved and the things that I was passionate about for her were stupid. And so that was probably part of it too. She, Star Trek, that's stupid. Comic books, that's stupid. Video games, that's stupid. Tiffany is just that kind of person. And so, yeah, it was just one of those things that I'm almost like, call Grey's Anatomy stupid, right? I mean, she's more into shows like that. Now, personally, I've never really gotten into Grey's Anatomy, but I like procedurals. I like cop and hospital procedures. ER is one of my favorite shows of all time.
I liked ER for the first few seasons, then it got boring. I liked Chicago Hope when Mandy Patinkin was on it. After that, I thought I realized he was the only thing that made that show good. Every other character sucked.
I'm a big fan of Law and Order SVU. I've always loved.
I was a big fan of the original Law and Order. I couldn't get into a lot of the other ones.
The original one was pretty good. Well, SVU is the longest running one.
Yeah,
it's the one that's run the longest.
I'm a big fan of The Rookie.
Yeah, The Rookie. I love The Rookie. They've actually announced that many of the characters that were on Rookie Feds are going to be moving over to The Rookie. They showed up in a couple episodes at the end of the season.
I hope it's not the main chick though. She just annoyed me.
Yeah. So anyway, there were a lot of stuff about that show. There are things that you can say about that show. Stupid is not one of them. And so, yeah, it ticked off Tiffany. I said to her, it makes you look stupid if you say stuff like that. And she immediately just just rage, and my poor brother-in-law. Oh yeah, my poor brother-in-law the whole time is like this, just like this. It's like, oh God. And so I know that he probably went home and had to hear her rant about me in the car.
So you probably owe him an apology.
Yeah, I might. I said, I even texted her. I texted her later and said, hey, didn't mean to upset you. we've been doing pretty good the last few times. I mean, but I've heard crickets back so nothing.
I didn't mean to upset you, but you started it.
But you started it. She called something that I liked stupid. Just a very insensitive thing. If she had said something like, "It's not my thing, didn't like it, I didn't care for it, I didn't think it was very good," any of those statements would not have evoked that reaction from me. I mean, if she had said, "I don't think it's very good," I probably would have went, "Really? You don't think it's good?" But then I would have thought to myself, it's not her bag. This is totally not Tiffany's thing. So it would have been but for her to, like I said, to straight up call it stupid, got my dander up.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I just want to move on, but it was just one of those things. The show is great. It is, but it is not for everybody. That is for damn sure. But it's not stupid.
So we should move on, though.
Use your words. Yes, we should move on. There's a lot to unpack from the weekend.
Yes.
San
Diego Comic-Con.
San Diego Comic-Con. Now, I am sure that it was a strategic move to open Deadpool Wolverine on this particular weekend, knowing that this was also going to be exceedingly well received, and that people were going to be talking about it. Did you see the drone show that they did?
I saw some of it, yeah.
Because they did an impromptu, they did for Hall H, they did a Deadpool Wolverine thing, and they showed the movie for these people. For like the 3,000 people or 5,000 people that were in the audience, they showed the movie. And then afterwards, they all went outside, and there was this immense drone show, Marvel Studios drone show, that was a record-breaking drone show. It had been the highest number of drones ever used for a choreographed show.
Yeah.
Incredible.
So what's also funny is this weekend's also the Penzic Wars.
Yes, it
started Penzic Wars down in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And I have a friend that's down there, or an acquaintance really, and she posted, when it's really hot and your entire group goes to see Deadpool and Wolverine. When it's really hot at Penzic and the entire camp goes to see Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah. It was really fucking hot. Apparently Penzic's known for being hot. It's in Pennsylvania. It's known for being
it's in the middle of summer.
Middle of summer. For those of you guys who don't know, Penzic War is the big one of the biggest events that the Society for Creative Anachronism does every year. It's a big, huge event. It's almost a mini Ren Fair without the Ren Fair drama, without the stage acts.
They have big fights and
they have staged combat, and then. But there are vendors that show up and sell. There are demonstrations. It's basically a 2-week party. Yeah, I mean, I've heard it's like Sodom and Gomorrah. It's crazy. So a couple of different things.
So do we want to start with Marvel?
Well, I was gonna work up to Marvel.
Okay.
Let's start with Star Trek.
Okay, a lot of Star Trek news.
There were big Star Trek Strange New World season 3. They did a first look.
Like a 5-minute section of an episode.
5-minute section of an episode featuring several of the actors from the cast being transformed into Vulcans, which was really, really funny.
Full Vulcans, as they point out.
Yes, as we have 4.5 Vulcans
to beam down.
To beam down.
Yeah. So how was the mission for you? I was reminded the entire time, repeatedly reminded that I am the least Vulcan of all of the members of the OA team.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. So they did also mention that the character of Dr. Roger Corby is going, and Scotty will both be regulars on the show, or at least semi-regulars. Dr. Roger.
Well, you
Corby,
see Scotty in the.
Scotty showed up at the end of the previous season, correct?
Well, but he's in the preview. He's in that first look.
Yeah, he is. Dr. Roger Corby was a character that was in the original series. He was Nurse Chapel's love interest. She was like he was like a husband or a love interest or something that she knew from previous years. And he was in a very well-known episode where he discovers these ancient androids and creates a duplicate of Kirk, and discovered, oh, we can be
So-
immortal. We can transfer our, copy our minds into these bodies, and we can create a more immortality. Blah blah blah. So he is in a very he's a very kind of well known character from that episode. He's going to be a
speaking of the Vulcan thing too, I thought it was funny, but I have one issue.
What's that?
They get that injection to change their DNA.
Yeah.
How did they get new hairstyles too?
How did the hair do? Yeah, exactly.
Every one of them had a different hairstyle.
It was definitely one of those moments. Yeah, like Uhura's hair changed. She got like braids or something.
Yeah, and it was all tied back.
Tied back, and well, you know what? The only one that didn't get a different hairstyle was Pike, because his hair just remained.
No, he got the dude.
upright.
He got the dude. Yeah, he got like the cut from the dude from Venture Brothers.
Yeah, I mean, it's like even more.
Yeah,
upright.
it was just straight up. It was.
It's really funny, but I mean, they all look great. The ears and the eyebrows and everything. And Carol Kane has returned again, and she is fantastic. I like how her uniform has like a slight variant to it. Like it's because she's an older woman, and I think they made some changes to it. So
and she's got like, I think she adds little things too. Like she's
got
got
little,
like an extra little
jewelry
pin or something like that on it. Yeah.
And nobody calls her on it. It's like, yeah, whatever. She's.
What are you gonna do? She's like thousands of years old.
Yeah, I think she's 7,000 years old. So she's like, yeah, she's older than American human history, more or less. So quantifiable, like specific human history. So yeah, it was pretty fucking cool. I really like her. I don't think it gave us an actual date.
No date yet.
No date as to when it's coming on. We also did get a teaser for the final season of Lower Decks.
Yeah, I posted that in the Nerd Basement, and it's one of those, like, I'm so excited that it's coming back because it's gonna be Klingon as hell.
Yeah.
But
it's also like leaning into the fact that there's comments about, what, this is our last trip, what are you talking about? We've only seen a quarter of the galaxy.
Only a quarter of the quadrant or whatever. Yeah. But it's I'm sad that it's the last season.
Yeah, me too. It's actually really, really fantastic, and I've been buying the sets because it's just really great. And I'm guessing that they'll probably revisit these characters in like maybe an occasional movie. They'll make an occasional animated movie because they are talking about, Paramount is making movies and stuff is set in this thing. So I'm guessing that there will probably be they'll in a couple years they'll reunite the cast and they'll make them like a 90-minute animated film. And I wouldn't be surprised if maybe we see them show up in live action again, like they did in.
Yeah, but I don't see them doing the time thing again. That
probably not. But
they'd have to do something in the current in that time frame, which
sure.
I don't. There's nothing planned right now. Well,
that's not true. Tawny Newsome, who plays Mariner, they did announce that she and writer Mike Mahan are. I think it's Mike Mahan. Are working on. It could be different. Maybe it's a different writer. Are working on a comedy show, a live action comedy show, or comedy based show that will be set in Star Trek. And I believe it's probably going to be set in the era of Lower Decks, which is the post next gen or post Voyager, but pre Picard setting, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
Riker.
They also talked about, they did some more announcements about Starfleet Academy.
Yep. I saw that.
Some more stuff about the cast. They have cast Robert Picardo to come back in a role, more than likely as the Doctor from Voyager. They also did announce. I don't know. That's the thing. Either they're going to have to de-age him which is not cheap to do that all the time, or they're going to have to establish that maybe the Doctor has decided over the hundreds of years that he has been in existence that he has decided to make himself look older, which I'll buy that. Sure. Why not?
Yeah,
They also did
Data did it.
Data, sure.
It's how they explained Data looking a little older.
Yep.
At one point, he's like, well, I decided that it was time.
It was time. Yeah, I think it was the final episode.
Yeah, it was when they went in the future. Yeah,
in the future,
yep.
and he had the gray
streak. Yep.
They also have released that several characters would also be from Discovery would also be appearing as regulars on the Academy, notably Tig Notaro. So Jet Reno, not Janet Reno. Jet Reno will be returning to Star Trek, which I am delirious for. Jet Reno is one of my favorite secondary characters on Discovery, and she's fucking hilarious.
She really is. She was supposed to be a single.
She was a
one-shot character.
Episode. Yep, one episode. They loved her so much, and the fans loved her so much that she would be showing
the whole time, or the thing where she's on painkillers, just
right. Yeah, that was really funny. It reiterated. They also reiterated Holly Hunter and what's his name? Oscar winner. You're waiting. You know what his name is too. You're waiting for me to try and remember. Bastard. Tig Notaro, Oded Fier, who's also who's coming from Discovery as well. And oh my God, now I have to look it up. You're a jerk. He just won a Paul Giamatti. He's such a jerk. Paul Giamatti is going to be.
Oh yeah. I actually wasn't sure who you were talking about. I'm like, I don't remember who you're talking about.
Paul Giamatti is rumored to be the antagonist. So we don't know exactly what that means.
Mm-hmm.
Antagonist. If he's going to be a straight up villain, if he's going to be like a teacher that people don't like, who knows? So we will. That is kind of. We'll see. I'm super excited about it. I think it's going to be really, really cool. I like Holly Hunter too. So Star Trek, is it Starfleet Academy or
Starfleet Academy? Yeah.
Starfleet. I got Starfleet, Holly Hunter, Paul Giamatti, and Oded Fair, Tig Notaro, Robert Picardo, Mary Wiseman, and then the rest are characters are basically just actors that are playing the ones listed on IMDb here. The rest are actors that are basically playing some of the students. So I don't think we're going to see much beyond that. And they're playing their cards kind of close to the chest. We still do not have a release date on that as well. They're saying sometime in 25. Yeah. Last but surely not least, with these news, we also have we had a trailer for the big movie set. It's been 5 years since Michelle Yeoh's spun off of Star Trek Discovery was first announced with it
was going to be a series.
It was going to be a series. They were first to talk series, but now it's a movie. Star Trek Section 31, where her character, Empress Giorgio of the Mirror Universe and the Terran Empire, the Mirror Universe, and it looks like it's going to be pretty cool. Now, I'll see anything with Michelle Yeoh in it. She's amazing.
I still haven't seen Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Dude, it's so cool, man.
I know. I just haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, check it out. It looks really cool where she basically it's a spy thriller. This is a spy thriller set in Star Trek. I'm down, dude. The trailer looked awesome. I am so excited for this. I think this is something that is going to shine new light in the Star Trek universe in a whole different light. And it takes place in the pre-Kirk setting of Star Trek.
She left before they went in the future.
Right, exactly. So
now the question is, will they keep her there?
Question.
That was the problem they were having with Discovery, was they were having trouble figuring out how to explain what was going on and where the ship was during Kirk's time.
Right, exactly. Personally, I think they did a really good job like with Strange New Worlds. I think they've done a really good job.
I think they're doing great with that.
Yeah, explaining off how the technology in the Discovery is different, and how like why some of the ships, why the Enterprise didn't have like a holographic display or holographic communications because Pike hated it.
Yep.
It's like I'm talking to a ghost. I don't like that. And it's like, I want to go back to view screens. So that was really cool. I think that was really cool. So they did some really great stuff. We also a little minor thing. The character of Wesley Crusher apparently shows up in the second season of Star Trek Prodigy, which you can see the entire series on Netflix.
Yeah, I've never watched that.
Netflix picked it up after Paramount shut it down. Now Paramount did
the Traveler.
The Paramount did get purchased there. We talked about it a little bit. There's been a big kind of changing of ownership or whatever, which could be good for Star Trek. We don't know. So it should be interesting to see how this all works out, how this plays out with the new ownership and the blending of this other production company or this I don't know what it was exactly, but so that was Star Trek. What do you want to go on? What do you want?
Well, Critical Role had a little thing.
Yeah,
they did a test scene for Mighty Nine. Yes.
Well, there was they showed footage from season 3 of Vox Machina, and I think they're in. It was when they were in one of the other cities. I can't remember. But with Gilmore, with Dolores Gilmore, that was really cool. And then they showed an animatic.
A test clip
of the Mighty Nine, which looked great. It's actually the meeting of Ford and
Jester,
and Jester's being chased by some town guards or whatever, and Ford is in that meeting, discovers his powers.
Yep.
He's like, I don't have powers. I don't know. His sword just appeared in his hand, his falchion.
Yep.
And
he's armed.
And then he shot off a hex bolts, and
Eldritch Blast.
Come
on, he said it every time. Eldritch Blast.
Interestingly enough, he starts off with a British accent.
I know. I noticed that too. I'm like, oh, that's wrong.
Yeah.
You got to change that.
Yeah, because he started off talking like that Texan accent.
That's right.
That Willingham is actually probably had to work its way out. Like knowing where he grew up, that was probably a very common accent that he probably had to like.
Laura too.
Is Laura from Texas?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're both from Texas.
So anyway, it looks great though.
They actually knew each other in Texas. And she said she hated him. If you watch their like whole how they got together thing, she talks about that. She's like, I hated him.
Yeah, I didn't like him right away. Well, I think they were both working for that.
Yeah, for an animated, and there's a big animation firm there. Yeah. Well,
yeah, they do. They're the company that brings all the animes over, and then they do a lot of the voiceover work there in Texas. And so yeah,
if they don't do them in New York or LA, because they do a lot in New York, and they do quite a bit in LA too.
Right, exactly. But this was one of the big ones that's like where a lot of these people, when they start, because they started a lot of their voiceover career in doing voiceover for dubbing animes.
I'm sorry, Laura's from Biloxi, Mississippi.
Oh, but that's another accent you probably had to work her way out of.
Mm-hmm.
That's a bit different though. Biloxi, Mississippi is a lot different than Texas.
Yeah. Well, they're right next door to each other.
They are, sort of.
Yeah, he's from Dallas.
There was also moving along. They also announced Invincible season 4 has been confirmed before season 3 has even dropped. Season 3, we have more Invincible on the way. Season 3 is on the way, expected to premiere in early 25. And they did announce that Amazon has renewed it for season 4. I had actually heard that one of the creators had accidentally had made a tweet or a post or whatever saying that it had been renewed for season 4 and 5, and then that tweet was removed. So maybe. I think it would take through 5 seasons to actually tell, at least, even in the compressed story that it is. It would take till season 5 to tell the story of Invincible if you want to go all the way to the end of the comic book. They did also show Mark's costume in season 3, which is different from his costume in the previous seasons. They remove the yellow, and it's blue and like a dark gray, which is tracks with the comics too. So there is that. I'm super excited. It's such a great show. One of the best animated shows that they've produced in a number of years. So really, really good. Let's see. You got something else? You want to move on to something else?
All I've got left is the Marvel stuff.
All right, so let me get into some comic book news since it was the San Diego Comic Con. And it's only 10 after 9, so we got plenty of time.
We don't have plenty of time. We got to finish in like a half an hour.
Okay.
We got to start reining it back.
We got to bring it back. We got to bring it back, man.
People don't want to watch or listen for 2 hours. We got to rein it in a little.
Says you.
CD said blasphemy.
Blasphemy. He likes our conversations. All right, so there's a documentary has been made about the classic, one of the greatest comic miniseries ever made, Kingdom Come, drawn by Alex Ross, written by Mark Waid. They made a documentary about it. It's going to be coming out. I believe it's going to be screenable on Max, and it's basically all about the production of that 4-issue comic book, and about how the graphic novel, and how much it became so iconic. It is fully painted and is considered a masterpiece of the comic book medium, right up there with Watchmen and Dark Knight Returns and Sin City and some of these other really huge books. And since it is, I believe, the 25th anniversary of that coming up in 25, because I believe that came out in 2000. I'd have to look. I have the Absolute Edition over there, which is the larger edition. You can see
time flies. I remember when that came out, and I'm like, it doesn't seem like it was that long ago.
I met Alex Ross when it came out, and I got him to I think I got him to autograph my issues, and I'm just a super nice guy, and it was really cool to talk to him about it. One of my favorites. But yeah, they premiered the trailer for that. You can see that trailer on YouTube, and it should be up soon. Also, I think I mentioned about it last week about how DC is creating their own ultimate version. It's called the Absolute Universe, similar to Marvel's Ultimate Universe, where they had a more updated, more kind of newer version of Marvel Comics that lasted for about 20 years. It ran, maybe not 20 years, maybe about 15 years. It ran from about 2000, maybe 99, 2000, to about 15, and then it kind of petered out. Poor writing, bad decisions, bad editorial decisions, and that whole line was shuttered. Recently, Marvel brought it back, the Ultimate line, and they've revisited it, and it's actually pretty cool. They're doing some really cool stuff. DC has finally followed suit and has created their own, coming this fall, I believe in November, they're going to be getting in the Absolute line of DC Comics, written by, I think Mark Waid, no, not Mark Waid. Some bigger names are going to be kind of putting this one forward, and it looks really cool. They initially had said Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman would all have their own initial comics. They also announced over the weekend that we would also be seeing a Absolute Flash and an Absolute Green Lantern, all versions of them. If they go much beyond that, I think they might be pushing it. So, but we'll see. they're slowly trotting out these announcements. Also, we will be seeing a new. Let's see, where is that? I might have accidentally deleted it, but yeah, Absolute Green Lantern, written by Al Ewing. His first book for DC. Al Ewing usually has been writing for Marvel. It will be starring multiple Lanterns, and it's going to be a complete reimagining. But it will feature Hal Jordan, John Stewart, Joe Mullane from the Far Sector book, and probably see several other Lanterns. And it will be a complete reimagining of the Green Lantern story. Yes. Also, we did also get an announcement that the Justice League will be returning to DC, the DC books. After the Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths miniseries, that kind of reworked some of the reality. It wasn't a complete reboot like previous Crisis ones were, but revisited some of the stuff. The Justice League basically said, because they had essentially been killed, quote unquote. When they came back, they basically said, we're going to take a break for a while, and gave the reins to Nightwing and said the Titans are the premier superhero team of DC Earth at the moment. After the most recent storyline in Absolute Power, this new storyline that's going through the comics right now, Superman will be reassembling the Justice League, and it will be returning to comics after the first time for 2 years. So I'm excited about that. We're going to see a new Justice League comic book before the end of the year. The lineup is interesting. Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, of course, The Flash, Martian Manhunter, Black Lightning, and Star Sapphire. No Green Lantern, but we will have the Star Sapphire. So, which is another interesting kind of twist. We haven't seen that. The Star Sapphire is a ring-wielding superhero who is actually Hal's old girlfriend. So, Green Lantern, Hal Jordan's old girlfriend. So, this should be an interesting thing. The Star Sapphires, instead of wielding the power of utilizing the will, the emotion of will, or the lack of emotion of will, the Star Sapphires channel love as their energy. So that should be an interesting thing too. Some more comic news. There will be bringing back the West Coast Avengers. Iron Man is going to be forming a new team, featuring a new lineup of the West Coast Avengers. The West Coast Avengers was a comic book, a separate team of Avengers that was centered in Los Angeles, and was a kind of a creation of the 80s. Ran for quite a while. Did some interesting stuff. It's going to feature both Iron Man and War Machine, the Wasp. Oh no, not the Wasp. Firestar, Spider-Woman, the original Spider-Woman, and Ultron. One of the versions of Ultron, which they're, I guess, apparently trying to rehabilitate, or a version, because they did recently have a version of Ultron that was a good guy Ultron. It was in another short-lived Avengers spinoff book. There will also be, that was recently announced this weekend, a TVA comic book based on the TVA from Loki seasons 1 and 2. We are going to see characters that were established in that series. Mainly, we're going to see B-15, the one woman who pretty much is now like in charge of the TVA. We're going to see the Gwen Stacy Spider-Woman, also known as Ghost Spider. We're going to see Captain Carter, so the Captain Britain version of Captain Carter that we saw in What If. Mm-hmm. Mobius M. Mobius is going to be a regular character, as well as OB. We're also going to see Miss Minutes, and maybe a Mr. Minutes too, because we've seen a couple in the initial imagery. There's a couple of variations of that. and some variant version of Gambit is what they're saying. So very, very interesting, very cool. And Sylvie. So we will see some of these characters that have never been seen in Marvel Comics that were only in Loki are going to be introduced to the Marvel Comics universe.
Okay.
That is coming on in December. That will be we'll see the issue 1 in December. I think I had one more thing that I kind of wanted to touch on real quick. I can't wait to check here. No. Yeah, that's about it. We can get into the Marvel Cinematic Universe reveals.
Okay. I think the first one to start with is the quickest one to get through, and that's that we finally know who Giancarlo Esposito is playing.
Exactly.
In Brave New World.
They brought everybody, the whole cast of Brave New World showed up. They did some really cool stuff. Harrison Ford was there.
He was doing Hulk moves too.
Yeah, it's really funny. Giancarlo Esposito was on the stage. They did Feige was out there. I mean, it just looks pretty cool. The majority of the cast, I believe, and Giancarlo Esposito was able to reveal to the audience who his character is. Do you want to do it, or shall I?
Sure. It's Sidewinder.
Sidewinder, who is now, a lot of people don't know, Sidewinder was the initial leader of the Serpent Society. The Serpent Society was a group of lizard or snake-themed supervillains that all teamed up together and acted as it was basically an organization of, you could hire these villains to do various different things. It was very organized. Sidewinder had basically
Cobra. Oh wait, no, that's wrong. Wrong IP.
Sidewinder. Well, I'll get there. Sidewinder had actually, he was I don't know. I mean, he had a teleporting cloak. He had a cloak that allowed him to teleport, and he called himself Sidewinder because it was like a sideways kind of movement.
Yeah, you get
that when he teleported. And Sidewinder snakes, they move kind of the sideways kind of thing. And then he just integrated like this lizard, the snake kind of theme. And like he was the one that organized and gathered together all these, B-level and C-level villains like Cottonmouth and Diamondback and Cobra, and later called King Cobra, and
Copperhead,
and all these other various different supervillains that all had Princess Python, all these different snake-themed supervillains. And eventually Sidewinder was ousted by Cobra, and he kind of kicked him out. And then Sidewinder was like, because he's very Machiavellian, and Cobra was kind of an idiot. So I think this is really cool. I think it's a cool kind of unexpected character. I mean, and Sidewinder was often, and the Serpent Society was often a thorn in the side of Captain America. So we'll see how that works out. Now there was also is the ongoing, drama about the character of Sabra, who is in the movie. They did, from what I understand, a lot of the reshoots had to do with her scenes, because they are lessening the idea. Originally, Sabra was a Mossad agent, and because of all of the controversy and the conflict between Palestine and Israel right now, they wanted to lessen that connection. She is still, I believe, an Israeli agent, but they are doing less to kind of.
By the way, if you want to learn more about what's going on over there, watch John Oliver this week.
For sure. Yeah.
Does a whole thing. I mean, yeah, he's a comedy show, but he lays out some real facts.
Well, just like The Daily Show, John Oliver, The Daily Show, excellent resources for news. I mean, they do present it to you in a comedic manner, but it's an excellent resource. Speaking of Jon Stewart, because Jon Stewart hosts it on Monday nights, he came back for the promotion. Pete Buttigieg was on last night.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet. I moved it over just so I can watch it because I want to watch that episode.
I listened to it today and it was really cool. Pete Buttigieg, man, if America could just get beyond the fact that he's gay, he would make he's a hell of a politician. And I think he'd make a pretty good president. But unfortunately, because he's gay, there's so many people in this country that just cannot deal with that. Can't, he people loosen up. Jesus Christ, there are a lot of people that were calling for him to be Kamala's running mate, but I don't think that's probably not.
I think it's going to be Shapiro.
You think so?
Yeah, but we don't have to get into politics.
Did we talk about that last week? Did we deal with Kamala?
No, we talked about her, the whole Biden stepping away and stuff. Yeah. So we're not going to get into politics tonight.
No, we're not getting into that.
Today's SDCC. Anyway,
so definitely check that out if you want to check it out. But so they have lessened. They've changed her Sabra's. Is she still in the movie? She's still a Jewish character. She's still an Israeli character, but they have lessened to the fact I think she's not a member of Mossad. She is a former Black Widow. They've made her a former Black Widow that was freed from the control of the Black Widows and now is a agent of.
So back like when Black Widow did that.
Yes. Yeah. Because that was a thing. Well, but is she Russian? No. There were a lot of Black Widows. Not all of them were Russian. They were controlled by a Russian agency, but not all of the Black Widows were Russians. So that's cool. I'm looking forward to it. I think this is.
They were sleeper agents all over.
They were sleeper agents all over the place, right? That being said, there was also a big, really cool thing for the Thunderbolts. They did some kind of cool stuff. They did show apparently a trailer or some footage, but that was not public. It was not revealed, and I haven't seen any like leaks or anything of that yet. It was interesting though too. The guy who played Red Guardian, what's his name from Stranger Things?
David Harbour.
David Harbour. He actually showed up in costume and in character, and was making an out. He's walking with a microphone, and he's they've got, and then he sees the rest of the cast. They're all up on stage, and they're not in costume. And he's like, "Guys, we said we were going to show up in costume. Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. Oh my God." It was really funny. I saw some footage from that, and he's like, "You guys you said you'd do this," and it was really funny. I think Harbour playing the Red Guardian in Black Widow was one of my favorite parts, and I'm really, really glad he did go. He goes, "Julia, at least you showed up in costume," because she was just, that was really cute.
Look,
really cool things.
Still fits.
Look, still fits. Yeah, you were squeezed. He was squeezed into that like a sausage case. We also had well, I mean, we could get into the really big one.
Well, no, let's go FF first.
Okay. So FF
Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four, they did reveal the name, the what is it, the postscript or whatever, the secondary name. It's First Steps. There were some footage was revealed. The footage that was revealed again was also behind closed doors. They wouldn't let people see it, but I saw a leak. And they are very much leaning into the like a 50s, 60s. Retro 60s look, a very 60s.
That's what I saw. It's supposed to take place in the 60s.
Yeah, it shows like Reed Richards doing like a science show, like he's like a Mr. Wizard kind of thing.
Yeah.
But he is still a really well.
Yeah, I forget. I saw the name of what that show was. It's like, I forget what it was, but but yeah, it was something like that though. It's like something or other with Mr. Fantastic.
Right. They're leaning into like, and which is what I think is really good, because like in the original like story when it was created, Reed was designed this spacecraft. Ben was the pilot, and they were gonna the launch was getting scrubbed, so they decided to basically steal it and launch anyway. And Sue and Johnny decide to go with them because, darling, I can't let you go by your, I can't let you go without me. And And Johnny's like, if my sis is going, I'm going too. Because that's this ridiculous, shit from the 60s that they used to do.
Dude, those comics
Now-
are hard to fucking read now.
Yeah, they can be really hard. The early 60s,
The treatment of
initial
women
comics,
and some of the just the
some of the
overall
dialogue.
cheesiness.
right, was really, really, sometimes both X-Men, Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, the Hulk, they were all like kind of rough. They're classic.
I've read Spider-Man from the beginning.
Right. And it's great. But
And
at
I've
the
made
same
it
time,
into like I think the 70s right now, or maybe the 80s.
mm,
I got to
it
get
was
back to it.
it was in the 70s there was a big shift. There was definitely a big shift because
That was back in the 40s CD when Cap punched Hitler.
yeah, classic. But yeah, the 70s there was a very substantial shift in storytelling in the 70s. So things got a lot. They also were weird, but they got a little more mature, and they got a lot of, they were getting away from the comics code a little bit more and stretching their, the writers were. You had the hippies coming in, you had the free love movement, you had the 70s were the swinging 70s. You had, so things really changed in the 70s.
Mhm.
Anyway, they had a floating Fantastic car came out like over the audience, and it looks really, really cool.
I saw that. I saw a picture
in
of
this
that.
movie. It looks very much that they're leaning into sort of similarly to what they did in that really terrible Fantastic Four movie, and something that they established in the ultimate Fantastic Four is that yes, Reed was the head scientist, the lead scientist. Yes, Ben Grimm was the pilot, and he's like one of the best pilots in American history. He's this incredible test pilot. But Johnny Storm was also a brilliant engineer, and Sue Storm is also a brilliant scientist in her own right. So, and that looks like that's what they're also doing in this case too. But it also looks like they're also semi-celebrities. So this whole thing is also very much like a celebrity kind of thing as well. So I'm excited. I'm still excited. I think Pedro Pascal is going to do a great job. I think the guy playing Ben Grimm, I've been watching him on the Bear. He's really great. I think he's going to be really good too. I think the cast themselves, this is going to be really good movie. I am curious to see how they are going to integrate and deal with bringing the FF into the modern MCU.
Yeah, because especially since this is supposed to be set in the 60s.
Correct.
And I think what it is it's just I think it's just gonna be an alternate universe because they start off with the whole multiverse thing.
Right. I think we're going to see my guess is we're going to see continuously they're going to stay in their own universes for a while. We're going to see some crossovers, but they're going to stay in their own universes, and then there's going to be a movie that is going to that's going to bring them all together into one universe. Because we did see as well we saw some news that was dropped about the next two big Avengers.
Well, right, but so sticking with Fantastic Four, we're also going to see Shia LaBeouf.
Yes, and Norrin Rad. From what I understand, I think we're going to see both of them.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Okay, I've only heard the words about Shala, so
I believe that they are casting both Shia LaBeouf and Norrin Rad. Okay. So we will see.
And so Silver Surfers. And this is what I'm not happy about. What is that they're doing Galactus? We've talked about this in the past. Galactus doesn't belong in a first movie.
I agree. I would agree with that. But also, Galactus was one of their earliest big villains. I mean, Galactus showed up within the first, I believe, 2 years of Fantastic Four books. I'd have to look it up. I'll look it up. But he is a very early villain or antagonist of the Fantastic Four. So it doesn't surprise me that they are using him this early, but I agree. I think that's a move that this is a character that needs to show up in a big group movie, like a big Avengers meets the Fantastic Four meets the X-Men kind of like big movie. Galactus. First appearance of Galactus. okay. First 4 years. So it's Fantastic Four number 48.
Hmm.
So he is still an early villain of the FF. And calling him a villain is,
He's an entity.
He's an entity. He's a force of nature. He's not really.
He's not a nice guy.
No, but I mean,
but a man's got to eat.
Yeah, he's like. I mean, he's so far above and so far highly evolved beyond humanity. They're insects to him. He doesn't even, they're not even a thing. Although it did, after many, many years, after many, many encounters, he did finally have to acknowledge the fact that the beings that live on Earth are worthy of his attention. So I think one of the funniest times one of the coolest times I ever saw, like an interaction with Galactus, and it was the first time he'd ever been seen without his helmet. He took his helmet off. Was a miniseries, Hercules, and it was a tale of Hercules further into the future, and he leaves Earth to go and adventure out into space, and he encounters Galactus, and he spikes Galactus something. Galactus drinks, and he spikes it with like this really, really, really strong alcohol, the kind of alcohol that the gods drink. And he gave it to Galactus, and Galactus drank it. And he's like, I know what's in there. And he drank it, and and it's the first time you see Galactus laugh. That was an interesting story. It was kind of a cool story. But yeah, so we are seeing Galactus. It was actually part of the drone show.
Yes,
part of that reveal as well is that Galactus will be now. That
he actually rose up from behind. That was really cool.
And they have said that Galactus will not be a cloud of like a killing a planet killing cloud. It will be a being.
Yeah, it's going to be Galactus.
It will be Galactus. We will see
the big purple and blue guy.
I hope that now the Marvel Cinematic Universe has proven that you can have superhero costumes and supervillain costumes that are closer to what they wear in the comics, and they can still be cool. We've seen it with. Are
you trying to say Galactus's outfit isn't cool?
All right.
The big wings off the helmet.
The wings on his helmet. The fact that his costume were shorts. Now the concept of Galactus is that he is a being that consumes planets, right? And what he does is he makes way. He consumes, and he makes way for new. He's a forest fire. He makes room in the universe for more life. He consumes life so that new life can be birthed in its place. For a while, they even did a time. Some superheroes did some stuff to Galactus and reversed him actually to where he was the life bringer, and where he was bringing life to dead planets, and that happened for a little while. Now he has since reverted back to the way he was before. But he's a force of nature, and there were times that some of his early designs were very 60s. Man, he had shorts. He had short sleeves, and the idea is that any race that sees Galactus, they see him as they perceive him as a member of their own race. So the Skrulls see him as a Skrull, the Kree see him as a Kree, the humans see him as a giant humanoid. Non-humanoid races see him as a non-humanoid. So seeing him as a giant human, it makes sense, because that's how our brains would perceive him. That being said, they got a lot to do to make him look cool. But like I said, I mean, they did some great stuff. They made, Thor, the Asgardians, made them look amazing.
They made the Rainbow Bridge cool.
Absolutely. Hawkeye looks cool. Captain America doesn't look cheesy as fuck. Now they did redesign a lot of those comic-based costumes, but they maintain the purity of at least the colors often and whatnot. Like when I was talking about this with my friend Shadow at work in the late 90s and in the early aughts when the X-Men movies were made, they didn't think that the classic colors, the bright yellow and blue of Wolverine, some of the other bright colors, the cartoon, the cartoon costumes would translate well to the movies. And that's why in the initial X-Men movies, they're all in black leather and they're all in like leather outfits, which worked for that time. But now they've shown us that we can have brightly colored superheroes that still look cool, that still work on screen. Some superheroes, no matter what, you're going to have it. Superman is always going to be
comically accurate.
Right. Superman is always going to have that costume because it's so intrinsic to him. Spider-Man, the same thing. But even if you look at the initial the Sam Raimi Spider-Man comics or Spider-Man movies, that Spider-Man costume was very muted.
Mm-hmm.
So but then it got brighter with Garfield and then with Tom Holland and and stuff like that. So certain characters, they need it. But
so speaking of costumes and stuff, because I'm sure that's something we'll get into here in just a minute. The biggest reveal of the weekend, I think, and we have to talk about the lead up to it, which is the announcement that the Russo brothers are coming back.
Right, the Russo brothers will be directing the next two big Avengers films. Right,
which the second one is Secret Wars.
Correct,
and that comes in May of 2027.
In my belief, and this is what I'm predicting, is that Secret Wars will be the movie that will bring all the universes together, and that's when we will finally see the X-Men, the Avengers, the Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, all of those
come into one
universes.
Yeah, because that's kind of how they blended all the universes before, was through that. So,
exactly. In the newer Secret Wars,
right? So, the other thing though that led into the surprise announcement of the weekend,
which everybody has heard. This is not a shock or anything.
Because it's been all over media now, but and it's not like it's a secret anymore. It's out there, but they have canned the whole Kang Dynasty thing now.
Well, see, I heard that they have recast him, but they are moving away from the.
Well, but they've canned the next Avengers movie, which was supposed to be Kang Dynasty. Mm-hmm. It is now Avengers Doomsday, and they are bringing Dr. Doom in.
Correct. Now we are going to see a Fantastic Four movie before we see Doomsday.
But I don't think we're going to see Dr. Doom in it.
But we're not going to see Dr. Doom in it. I'll bet you we might see him in a post-credit scene.
Yeah.
Or he might be alluded to. Maybe they'll mention him because Reed Richards went to school with Victor Von Doom. They were that's how they met in college.
I just have I'm not sure how they're going to do it unless they do it as a multiversal thing.
Right.
But how they're going to have Avengers Doomsday with him being back in the 60s with Reed. So, that's going to be the tricky part because we're talking 60 years difference.
Sure. Now, my drag about this, and if you're not going to use Dr. Doom for a Fantastic Four movie, using Galactus is a good second. My thing is, I believe that Dr. Doom should be introduced in a Fantastic Four movie. Now, it's fine to have him as a Marvel villain because he was originally introduced as a Fantastic Four villain, as their arch nemesis, honestly. Mm-hmm. And then he got to the point where Dr. Doom grew beyond just the Fantastic Four and would plague the Avengers and would bother Spider-Man occasionally. I think the only time he didn't really show up. He didn't really deal with the X-Men a whole lot, unless he was teamed up with like Magneto or something. But Dr. Doom basically eventually became a villain for the entire Marvel universe, or for all of the superheroes in Marvel universe, because he is one of those characters that he's kind of untouchable because he is the leader of a nation. He's a sovereign nation.
But yes, Ojipo actually, you all right there? Oh, wow.
Sorry. Inhaled funny. Oh, man.
Hate when that happens. Got so excited about doing the next part of the reveal that Ojipo actually already kind of mentioned. But yeah. You want to go ahead and
Robert Downey Jr. is going to be playing Dr. Doom. Now, they have not revealed exactly what that's going to mean. Is he going to be Victor Von Doom? Is he going to be an alternate Tony Stark from another dimension, from a parallel where Tony became Dr. Doom and not Iron Man? Is he going to be Victor Von Doom, but he just happens to look like Tony Stark? I mean,
so here's my thing. One, I hate that they're bringing him back. They're trying to capture.
It's stunt casting.
It's stunt casting. It's them trying to capture their success that they had with him because he was the reason that Marvel took off.
He is the father of the MCU.
And so I have a problem with them bringing him back to play another major role like that.
Right. Correct.
My second thing is I will have an even bigger problem if he takes the fucking mask off at any point in the movie.
That's the thing. Yes. If he takes the mask off, if he keeps the mask on, see, that's the other thing. Robert Downey Jr., amazing actor.
He's also way too little to play Doom, I think.
He's very little, and he's getting older. I mean, he's 61, and this is a character that potentially could be carried into the next 10 years of Marvel movies. He is a major villain. This is not a villain that dies in one movie. This is a villain that needs to show up in multiple movies.
Mm-hmm.
And Tony Stark, I mean, Robert Downey Jr. is he's getting a little bit older, and yes, he looks pretty good for a man his age, but I would rather see somebody in their 40s playing this role, somebody that is a contemporary of, or maybe early 50s, somebody that is a contemporary of Pedro Pascal, somebody that went, that they can grow with there, That being said, I think Downey Jr. can do it.
Oh, I don't doubt he can do it.
I think, but the other thing too is he can't lean into the snark that is his trademark. Since that he's been doing for a long time, he can't just do that kind of thing. He can't be Tony Stark again. He's got to be Victor Von Doom, or he's got to be Dr. Doom. If he keeps the mask on the whole time, bravo, because it's rare that an actor of his caliber would play a masked role.
And so I've seen some people online talking about this, and I chimed in with the same thing. That's my biggest problem. And there was a whole article about it. I think it was on Polygon. About this whole thing and him keep the fucking mask on. That's their whole thing, is keep the fucking mask on, because Doom is one that he can't just take his mask off. And they even say, and this is one of my biggest problems with the superhero movies, is how many times heroes take their masks off or pop their helmets in the middle of a fucking fight just to say something.
Yeah, how many times do we see Peter Parker do that?
Yeah. Like, how the hell he still had in a world of cell phones and cell phone cameras, how the hell any of them had a secret identity is beyond me, when they're always popping their helmets off. And
well, it's one of the reasons why they kind of did they kind of, with Iron Man 1, at the end of Iron Man 1, they kind of did away with the idea of the secret identity,
Well, yeah, but that's the thing is
with at least with
he actually at one point he did have a public identity. I mean, everyone knew that Tony Stark was Iron Man.
Right. And it is the case now. I mean,
yeah.
For the longest time it was basically, Tony was like, "Oh, Iron Man's my bodyguard."
Mm-hmm.
And that was the story that they did for a long time. And then after a while, it was just like, everybody knows Tony Stark's Iron Man now. It's fine. And in a lot of the comics, the idea of the secret identity is just not really a thing anymore. None of the X-Men really have a secret identity. The only, I mean, even like everybody knows who Captain America is. There were for a long time, like Steve Rogers kind of kept his identity. The government knew, but nobody else really knew. Most of the Avengers,
Hawkeye was like that too.
Yeah, most of the Avengers still maintained, like, at the very least, like, you didn't know who they really looked like under the mask. Everybody, a lot of them wore masks, except for like Henry Pym, or, I mean, he still wore a mask, but Janet Van Dyne, the Wasp, she didn't wear a mask. She didn't have a secret identity. the Black Widow. She didn't really have a secret identity. If they didn't wear a mask, they didn't bother with the secret identity thing. Spider-Man is one of the only ones that they really kind of still lean into the idea that people don't know who he is under the mask, except for his closer friends. And it drove me crazy that every time we turned around, Peter's like, particularly with his uniform that Stark had made, that he could just, blink and the mask would go, whoop, and he'd be like, "Hi, I'm Peter." What?
Yeah.
And "Hi, I'm Doctor Strange." Oh, we're using our made up names.
Yeah.
And Doctor Doom never took his fucking mask off.
No.
He had a horribly scarred face for a long, long, long time. He like the accident that got him kicked out of college when he was going to college with Reed was because it gave him a scar on his face, and then he went and scarred his face even further later on.
Oh, did he? Because I was gonna say, because that was the thing, was they never actually show you what he looks like at the beginning, and he always just talks about how horribly scarred he is, and but he is such a megalomaniac and perfectionist, that he could not stand any flaw. And they said Kirby actually revealed at one point that really all he had was one little scar.
Yeah, it was just a little.
Yeah, just a little scar
here or over his eye or something.
Yeah. But yet he felt he always had to have, no one could see him without the mask on because he couldn't be seen as a normal person.
Right. And then later on, he actually got the design for the mask. The mask was because he met a group of monks that lived in Latveria, and he trained with these monks and learned some mysticism from them and stuff. And then he took one of the masks that they wore and he heated it up to, scorching heat, and pressed it against his face and scarred himself even further. And that's why he wore the mask forever. And you never saw him without his mask. He never took it off. The reason why he failed his experiment, got scarred and whatnot, is because Reed noticed, and why he hates Reed so much is Reed noticed a mistake in his calculations and pointed out, hey, you need to make
tried to warn him.
And he said, I'm Doom. I don't need any help. My calculations are perfect. And then the thing exploded in his face. And so the interesting thing, what they've been doing with Doom lately over the last 10 years is that they've been trying to make him more of an anti-hero, because they've established that Dr. Doom, Victor Von Doom, if he were to get away from his own ego and get outside of his own problems and whatnot, he would be the best superhero there is. He'd be the top notch. They've even established, they've shown multiversal versions of Dr. Doom where he's a good guy, or Victor is a good guy. He called himself Victorious or something like that. And he's because not only is he a brilliant scientist on the level of Reed Richards and the leader of a nation, of his own small nation in Europe, he is also an exemplary sorcerer on the level of Doctor Strange. So he's kind of the whole package, but he can't get away from his own problems. After Secret War happened in 2016, they established that his face had been healed. They gave him kind of a new lease on whatever, and because he was the guy that was kind of behind Secret War, the last Secret Wars, which reordered the Marvel universe and the Marvel multiverse.
Well, and that's what I think they're going to wind up doing. They're going to do Doomsday first. That's then going to lead into. Then we're going to have a couple movies over that next year, and then we're going to get into Secret Wars.
And that's what that's going to be. And we're going to have probably a Doctor Doom that is, maybe it'll be the reveal at the end. You'll take the mask off, and that's the RDJ moment. That's where he looks like Tony Stark. And so who knows? But Victor delivered Sue Richards' second child, Valeria. The only thing he asked was that he got to name her, because there were some complications and Reed needed help. And he goes, well, the only people that could help is probably Victor. And so they called Victor up and they're like, Victor, we could use your help. And they're at that time they were kind of at a peace kind of moment with him. And he was like, all right. So he came over and he helped deliver the baby. And he's like, I want to name her. And they went, all right. So he named her Valeria after his mother. And he became her godfather. And in fact, Doom was trying to be better because of Valeria, because of her, because Valeria is brilliant like her father. She's like 4 years old and is an absolute genius.
Yeah, because the FF kids can't be anything beyond gods.
Of course not. Well,
anything lesser than gods.
Their son, though, he's a normal intelligence, but he was a mutant with like reality.
He had god powers.
He had reality rearranging powers. Yeah. So I think
he was the most powerful mutant in.
Mm-hmm. I think they've actually rearranged it to the now he's not a mutant, but I can't remember. I have to look. I'm behind on some of my reading, but the story could. I mean, this could be. I think it's they're knowing the Russos, knowing RDJ, knowing that they can't fuck this up. It's gonna be good, but they gotta. It's gonna be a hard battle.
Yeah,
And you're right. I think putting him in this role was a stunt. They're like, the last couple movies have been rough, have not been as well received, have not been as successful, and we need to guarantee that these are going to be good. Let's bring back Robert Downey Jr. Have you seen? I saw some of the clips of. I know we need to get going.
I was gonna say when you start snacking, it's time for us to go.
One real quick thing. I've seen a couple of TikToks and a couple of like little things on Instagram where they're spotlighting the actor who's playing Deadpool at Disneyland. They've got this guy in the Deadpool suit and they've got him interacting with Wolverine and they're doing like skits and they're doing crowd work and they're doing stuff. And it's been really funny. But there's this thing, it's like basically story time with Deadpool. And he talks about and he tells his version of things from the MCU and whatnot. And at one point he's talking about Tony Stark Iron Man is there. And he says, don't take this. You give me the glove. Don't take this sacrifice from me. Don't take it. I don't want to be Iron Man anymore. I mean, I would just be doomed to be Iron Man anymore. And he just looks right at the camera, And this happened like over the weekend, It's like the actor who does Deadpool at Disneyland is really hilarious. He's really, really fucking funny. So, but anyway, so those were some of the big moments. We didn't get into this. So there's definitely some other things. Like I said, keep your eyes open for the Thunderbolts trailer. It's probably going to be released in the next few months. We might see. I wouldn't be surprised if we see that around the Agatha when Agatha comes out. There is definitely a lot of they revealed dates for untitled Marvel movies that they're still like, we're not telling what they're going to be yet. February 13th to 26th, July 24th to 26th, November 6th to 26th. They did say, they reiterated Fantastic Four is set to release on July 25th of next year. So right around this time of year. Blade in November of 25.
Sure.
Avengers 5. Huh?
Sure.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Still planning on it.
I'll believe it when it's in the theater and my butt is sitting there watching it.
Right. They also talked about they brought up some of the stuff, the ongoing stuff from Phase 5 and 6, the Wakanda Okoye spinoff series, the Wonder Man series, the What If Season 3, which is coming up, the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man series, Marvel Zombie series, Eyes of Wakanda, a Vision series, a live action Vision series. They also revealed that Nova they are working on a Nova movie. A lot of people are saying that they're kind of want to move Nova into the role that Captain Marvel was supposed to fill as being like the cosmic superhero, since Brie Larson as Captain Marvel just was never really well received, even though the first movie did extremely well. So I don't know. But guys, keep your eyes open for more news. We're going to be reporting it as it comes. Maybe we will get into some more other minor stuff that was released, that was talked about at San Diego. But those were the big ones, man. That was a really big, huge kind of reveal. Guys, be sure to join us every Tuesday night here, 8 o'clock on this channel, the Drinking Nerds channel on Twitch. This Friday, we'll be back in the Nerd Basement, Chris's Nerd Basement, playing D&D. So 7:30, be sure to tune in and watch us roll the dice.
Yep. Friday Writers for All. CD, I think we mentioned the Alien preview, Alien Romulus last week or the week before. We talked about that. We actually saw the Red Band trailer.
The trailers at Deadpool Wolverine were really cool. I mean, I
got different ones on Sunday than we had on Thursday.
Did you?
Yeah.
What did you get?
I don't remember now, but there were different ones. Some of them were the same. Like, still got Brave New World and Romulus and stuff, but there were a couple others.
Pharrell? Did you get the Lego Pharrell movie again?
Yeah, we got that one. Or no, we didn't get that one.
Didn't get that one?
No.
Apparently the Pharrell story is going to be told in Lego animation. So.
But yeah, so remember, I announced it earlier, but if you subscribe to our Twitch channel between now and 3 p.m. on October 19th, you can get 3 months of Apple TV Plus for free, thanks to Twitch. Mm-hmm. So you might want to take advantage of that. Time Bandits just dropped on Apple Plus, and it's the whole thing's out there, I guess.
Hearing good things.
Yep. But yeah, so you can also follow us on most social medias. We're on Facebook at Nerds with Alcohol Show. We're and everywhere else we're Drinking Nerds. So you can follow us there. Oh, and I just realized I only brought one glass, but I have a bottle, so we'll see how that clink goes. So I think that's gonna about do it.
That should do it.
Until next time. Sláinte. Just a little click. Have a good week, everybody.
Good night.